Hello to all of you moms out there. This is episode 17 of the Solve for Mom podcast, a podcast where we craft joyful, fulfilling lives while juggling the beautiful chaos of motherhood. I'm your host, Anoki Kapasi. Today's episode is going to be just in time for the 2025 New Year. I am so excited. We are actually going to be diving into the topic of goals, which many of us just find so elusive. I actually came across a statistic from a study that was published in the Journal of Psychology back in 2002. It basically found that only 8% of people achieve their New Year's resolutions. And I just thought to myself, if that's the success rate in the general population, how then as moms are we supposed to do this? Because we have this crazier balancing act as moms that we perform every day. Today, I'm going to introduce you to 5 mindset secrets that can help you guys shift your thinking and help you achieve your goals despite all the challenges. So by the end of this episode, you're going to have actionable mindset strategies and you're going to be ready to crush those goals without sacrificing your sanity. Welcome to the Solve for Mom podcast. Do you love spending family time together every day but realize that your own interests have fallen to the wayside? Do you have a long list of things you wish to learn but you're so tired from trying to balance it all on your own and frustrated from not planning ahead to make it happen? Have you been mom for so long that you've lost track of who you are as an individual? Hi, I'm Anoki. I'm a PhD biomedical researcher, homeschooling mom, and life coach. I too poured myself into being a mom and thought I had to stop doing the things that I love to do. I was struggling to make time for myself, had lost my sense of direction, and kept second-guessing myself. I wanted to take back control of my purpose and passions, but I kept telling myself there'll be plenty of time for that later. Until I did what was natural to me. Using the methods of a scientist, I created plans to prioritize my values, organize my time, and take action towards my goals. If you're ready to go questing for your purpose, level up your learning, and confidently pursue your passions while still being the awesome mama that you are, you're in the right place. In this complex equation we call life, it's time to sharpen our pencils and our minds and solve for mom. I've mentioned before that I see goals as a journey. And so that's why I developed the goal journey framework. But today I want to talk about the very first step. And no, that isn't goal setting. It's not even conceiving the goal idea. It's actually even before that. It's a goal mindset. Okay, this is where I get a little bit nerdy and I'm going to put in some of my scientific perspective and bring you back to high school chemistry. See, if you think of goals as a chemical reaction, then mindset would be the catalyst. If that means nothing to you, don't worry, I'm going to take you through this. Biochemistry involves chemical reactions that relate to living organisms. So in our bodies, we have chemical reactions that are going all the time. Our cells are full of chemical activity. But the thing is that some of these reactions would occur given enough time because we have enough of the starting reacting molecules. But for our bodies, those reactions wouldn't happen fast enough to support life. It wouldn't be in a timeline that's practical. So our cells often rely on what are called catalysts. Catalysts speed up the rate of a reaction. The catalyst itself isn't part of the reaction. They're not being modified in any way. Just by being present and the properties of that element allows that reaction to happen at a much faster rate. But without them, really, we wouldn't be able to sustain life. And when it comes to our health, some of our chronic conditions that we have actually are just a deficiency in some of these catalysts for our biochemical reactions. Okay, so what does this have to do with mindset? I think that our mindset functions as catalysts. It's the difference between getting over the hump and increasing your reactive potential energy when it comes to your goals versus taking the longer, harder route, so to speak. That is the power of mindset. Mindset can be the determining factor in whether you have a successful outcome or having no mental support when it comes to your goals, which can then open you up to more opportunities where you're going to feel deflated and want to give up. And just as the presence of catalysts are important for the chemical reactions that power our life, Mindset is important in order to power her goals. All right, let's get on to the tactical part of this episode. The first secret is to embrace a lifelong learning mindset. This means that you need to embrace the belief that you can grow, you can be uncomfortable, but improve through effort and being open to learning. Remember, I talked about having a mindset of lifelong learning in episode 13. I'm going to link that in the show notes. The same goes here. A growth mindset can help you see the setbacks as learning opportunities rather than failures. Even in your failures, you can learn something. So to do this, I want you to write down a goal that feels slightly maybe outside your comfort zone. And then I want you to identify one skill that you'll need to develop to achieve that goal. Commit yourself to learning and setting aside even like 15 minutes a day to develop that skill. It could be something as simple like listening to a podcast or reading for 15 minutes. I'm linking episode 2 because I gave some very easy 15-minute or less ways of learning your skills. And then a pro tip for this is to find a way to track your progress, because then you can always go back and check and reflect on, one, how far you've come, but also whether you're actually making progress. The second secret is to overcome any mental barriers and self-limiting beliefs. You want to identify and challenge these stories that you tell yourself about why you can't succeed. Self-limiting beliefs hold you back more than any other external obstacle, right? We all have these core values that we call beliefs. And then we apply these beliefs in all these conclusions that we reach every day. So you want to be very cognizant of what your beliefs are, because sometimes you have to remove them from the equation, especially if they're having a negative influence on how you operate. This is part of being self-aware. To do this, write down a belief that you believe is holding you back. For me, it's often, I'm just too busy to work on this goal. And then challenge it. Really, is this 100% true? Is it really not possible? Do I really not have enough time? And think about what evidence supports or contradicts this belief. Ask questions just like scientists do. Are my assumptions true? There are so many ways to do that. And after you ask those questions, if your answer is no to any of them, then you have to think maybe your assumptions aren't right. And if they're not right, your conclusion or your logic that you use to get to your conclusion is probably faulty as well. So what happens is that limiting beliefs are a result of automatic thinking. When you're in this automatic mode, you operate as if your assumptions are always correct. You don't go back and do that reflection work. But in a critical thinking stance, you are often able to ask yourself, how do I know? You're often able to add in that checkpoint of your assumptions. When you've identified a limiting belief, replace it with one that's more empowering. I can, right? Take those can'ts and change it to can. Some people even find it very helpful to have affirmations that reinforce this new belief. You're changing the wiring in your brain to erase the limiting belief and create a new neural pathway that goes down the positive belief. The third mindset secret is to align your goals with your core values and your long-term vision. You have to make sure that the goals that you come up with truly matter to you, because your values are what is most meaningful to you. And that way, your goals will also be significant and also sustainable. I recommend you do this through life planning. A life plan is a roadmap for where you are and where you want to go in your life, and essentially the path that you're going to take to get yourself there. It also becomes a decision-making tool that you can lean on to center yourself and refer back to it over and over again. I'm linking episode 8 in the show notes, which is my Life Planning 101 episode. If you need a quick and dirty version of this mindset hack, then first start by identifying your top 3 core values, right? Could be creativity or health or something like that. And then come up with the why for each goal and connect it to these values that you've already listed. The fourth mindset secret is to create a positive mindset framework for consistent progress. Now, some of these overlap a little, I'm sure you can tell. But in this one, I'm actually referring to the habits and routines that you create to support that positive mindset. Because with consistency, you'll build momentum, even just small little bits of progress. I talk about that 1% better each time. Habits and routines can get you to that point. So lots of ways to do this. You can start with some daily gratitudes. That'll change your perspective to a positive mode. Something that really helps me with my overall positivity is to be able to celebrate anytime I've made progress. And last but not least, but one of my favorites, is to use that figure it out mentality whenever you're tackling a challenge. It's really about having a problem-solving mindset, and it relies on you being adaptable and resourceful. Because when you are working on your goals, you are definitely going to come across challenges. And how you respond to those challenges is really going to determine your success. And I know a lot of people can find this really hard. It's just so debilitating sometimes when you come up with something and you feel like you're banging your head against the wall. But when you're in that moment, ask yourself, what's one thing I can do right now? Just one thing to move forward. Think about the problem from a different angle. Maybe you have to break it apart and put it back together. As I talked about with the 1% better, you can take your goals and chop them up into bite-sized pieces so that one big goal that seems so big and intimidating can actually be a tiny little actionable single decision step, something that you can even work on daily. Work with someone, seek advice, look at resources, talk to people. You're going to get fresh perspectives from your mentors or your friends or even your family. My kids often help me with problems. It's amazing to me how well my 5-year-old can take a complex problem that I've just gone on and on and on about in front of him, and he can just boil it down to the simplest words for me. Sometimes you or maybe someone you know has actually gone through a similar problem. So why reinvent the wheel? What worked for you last time? Try and see if that works for you this time. Every time you practice mindset shifts or you have a problem and you get better at solving problems, you are building the muscle for that particular skill set. And those are my 5 mindset secrets. I'm sure you could tell I had a lot of fun with it. I like to infuse a lot of my scientific perspectives into these episodes. So to recap, the 5 mindset secrets are 1, to develop a lifelong learning mindset. 2, to erase the false narratives that limit your growth. 3, to align your goals with your values. 4, to learn to have a positive mindset. And 5, to adopt a figure it out or problem solving mentality. Now, all of these are really important, but I listed them out in the order that I think you should work on them. So for your next goal in 2025, pick one mindset secret to focus on. And once you feel that that's become really natural as a part of your thinking, then go on and work on the next one. And what you're going to find is that these effects are actually cumulative. Just remember that mastering your goals is a process. It's a journey, like I said. And these mindset shifts are going to make all the difference for you, just like a chemical catalyst. Hey, before we go, I just want to remind you to sign up for my new weekly Solve for Mom Insiders newsletter. That's where you're going to be getting personal growth tips, resources, and exclusive offers. So if you can, stop the episode, go down to the show notes, and click that link. I hope you join me because we're going to have a ton of fun. Okay, moms, you have the power to achieve your dreams while being amazing parents. I believe in you. So I want you to stop winging it all the time and start becoming you with intention. Thank you so much for tuning in and investing in yourself. I want you to do all of this work for you, and I promise you your family is going to reap the benefits for it as well. I hope today's episode will help you create time and freedom to pursue something you love to do. If you enjoy this show, please subscribe and tell other ambitious mamas about it. Who knows, you might even make a new friend by sharing a tip. It's all free. By the way, it would be amazing to hear what you think about the show when you leave a review. After all, my passion is to make this a great experience for you. Thank you for making my show a part of your day. I'll see you next week for another episode of the Solve for Mom podcast with Anoki Kapasi.